This is bellwork for Monday, February 12th. On number 1, it's asking us to graph the quadratic equation y equals negative x squared minus 10. So first thing we want to do is locate the vertex. And the vertex is pretty easy to find as long as you remember this pattern. The vertex is usually written as h and k. And to get the h value is negative b over 2a. And think, okay, what does b mean? What does a mean? That's when you have it in standard form like this. So you get y equals 2x y equals x squared, or ax squared, plus bx plus c. And that's where the ABC comes from. So if we put that into our pattern up here, we'll get h is equal to negative b, which for this one doesn't exist. So it's just 0, which is not negative 0 because there's no negative 0. It's just 0. And then for a, we have negative 1. So we have 2 times negative 1, which is negative 2. Anyway, this fraction simplifies to just 0. So our h value is 0. To get the k value, we plug the h in for x and see what we get for y. So we're going to do y is equal to negative 0 squared minus 10. And that just means y is going to equal negative 10. So this is our vertex. It's going to equal 0 and negative 10. That's the point of the graph where it changes direction. When we graph this, it's going to make a parabola. This is where the lowest or highest point of the parabola is going to be. Okay, so next step is make a table. And we use the vertex for our middle value. And what I mean by middle value is the 0 for x, that's our middle value. So we're going to do 0, then 2 above, or 2 below, and then 2 above. And 0 was negative 10. If we put 2 in, we'll get y is equal to negative 2 squared minus 10. Negative 2 squared is 2, but then it becomes negative again, so it's negative 2 minus 10, which is negative 12. So we get negative 12 here. And for 1, we'll get, or negative 1, we'll get negative 1 squared minus 10, which is going to be negative 1 minus 10, which is negative 11. Now, if we did this right, we should get the same thing for these two numbers above the vertex. So let's check. Okay, so we'll put 1 in. And I'm going to do y is equal to negative 1 squared minus 10. 1 squared is 1, but then it becomes a negative, so it's negative 1 minus 10 is negative 11. And then if we do the same thing for the 2, we'll get negative 12. Okay, then when we graph these, we're going to have, let's go by 5. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 5, 10, 15, 20, 10, 15, 20, 10, 15, 20. So our first point, our vertex is 0, negative 10, which would be here. Then we have a negative 2, negative 12. There's negative 2, and negative 12 would be about here. Actually, hang on, we're going by 5s. So let's change it. So negative 2 would be about here. and negative 12 would be about here. And it's on the other side too. Then we have negative 1 and negative 11, which would be right about here and here. So this is going like this. On number 2, it's asking us to find the zeros of f of x is equal to x squared minus 5x minus 36. And you can think of f of x as just y. So we're going to do y is equal to x squared minus 5x minus 36. And then to find the zeros, it's when we have 0 for y, what do we get for x? And they call it the zeros because there's going to be 2 answers for x, usually. Okay, so what we want to do first is factor this. So we're going to factor it. First, make sure it's in standard form. This one is. So we're going to get an x and an x. We're looking for 2 numbers that multiply to give me negative 36 and add to give me negative 5. So we're going to multiply to get negative 36 and add to get negative 5. Okay, so let's think of some factors of 36. We have 6 times 6. That won't give me negative 5. So let's try a different one. 12 and 3 won't give me negative 5. 9 and 4. There we go. 9 times 4 is 36. And then 9 minus 4 will be 5. So we get 9 and 4. One's going to be positive, one's going to be negative. We can tell by looking at the middle number. It's negative 5. That means a bigger number has to be negative. So it's going to be negative 9 and positive 4. And those are equal to 0. So when we have 2 numbers multiplied together and make 0, either one or both has to be equal to 0. So x minus 9, to make that equal to 0, x has to be 9. There's one of our zeros. And x plus 4, to make that 0, x has to be negative 4. Here's our other 0. Okay, number 3 is asking, is it an increase or a decrease? And then what is the percent change? Our original number was 52. Our new number is 38. It went down, so that's a decrease. That was easy. So it is decrease. Then to find the percent change, what we do is we take the new minus the old, and we divide it by the old, or the original. Okay, so we're going to do 33.8 minus 52 over 52. 33.8 minus 52 is negative 18.2. And then when we divide that by 52, you'll get negative 0.35. And the negative just means it's a decrease. Multiply that by 100, and we will get a 35% decrease. Okay, number 4 is asking us to find the sum of negative 7 1/2 plus 10 3/4. So we have negative 7 1/2 plus 10 3/4. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to change these into improper fractions. So we're going to do negative 7 times 2 and get negative 14. And then one more will make negative 15. So we're going to get negative 15 halves plus 10 times 4 is 40. And 3 more make 43. So we get 43 over 4. And then to add two fractions, we need to have a common denominator. And it looks like the least common denominator for these two would be a 4. That means the second one can stay the same, but we're going to have to change negative 15 over 2 into something over 4. So 2 times 2 makes 4. 15 times 2 makes 30. Okay, then once we have a common denominator, we're just going to keep that. And then we just have to worry about the top two numbers. And negative 30 plus 43 would give me a negative 13, or a positive 13. So we're going to end up with 13 over 4, which is going to be 3 and 1/4. Number 5 is asking us to write the rule, and they have two shapes. They've been translated, so we're going to write a T for translate. And the rule was if we pick any one of those points and just see how it moved. So for example, A moved down. It moved down 4 and left 6. So it moved in the X direction, it moved negative 6. And in the Y direction, it moved negative 4. And then we have to say what the shape was that we moved, and it was A, B, C, D.